Here's a clip from Pink News talking about the plight of non-binary lesbians, because I know you were wondering. I know you got up this morning thinking, what's going on with non-binary lesbians? How are they doing? Well, turns out not very well. They are, in fact, very upset, and they're going to tell you about it. Watch this.
My pronouns are they, them. I am a non-binary lesbian.
So I'm Tortor. I identify as non-binary and lesbian, and I prefer the pronouns they, them.
As far as I'm concerned, my understanding of my gender and my understanding of my sexuality are very much intertwined and linked, like they are one and the same.
So can you be non-binary and lesbian? This is something I often get asked, because when you identify as non-binary, you're saying that you're not female. And if you're not female and you're attracted to women, does that make you a lesbian?
I think it's sort of disingenuous to claim that you can't be both non-binary and a lesbian, because you can definitely have an authentic lesbian experience as a non-binary person.
Because at the end of the day, they are terms. They are linguistic tools used to describe an experience that already exists. So someone telling me that I can't be a non-binary lesbian doesn't mean anything, because I already am one, and I'm just using the language that I have available to me to describe that.
So my personal experience with the lesbian community since coming out as non-binary has been rather dismal. A lot of lesbians that I've encountered, especially on dates, haven't accepted my identity as something that they are interested in dating or accepting, to the point where some women have wanted me to use my birth name, which I feel very uncomfortable to use, because they want me to be more of a woman rather than someone who identifies in the middle. So they're almost bullying me out of my own identity, which is quite frustrating.
I have had people say that you can't be both non-binary and a lesbian, but I do think that comes from a flawed understanding of what lesbianism as an identity means, both now and historically.
So what does lesbianism mean? That's not a question I thought I'd be asking today, but that's the question posed in this video. I did look it up in the old dictionary just to be sure, and because I thought I knew, and so I looked it up just to be sure. And yeah, sure enough, here's the definition I found: sexual attraction or sexual activity between women. Between women. This is the definition of lesbianism. To be a non-female lesbian is then a contradiction in terms. It is literally like claiming to be a married bachelor. A bachelor, by definition, is an unmarried man. If a man is married, it makes no sense for him to identify as a bachelor. Now, many married men, unfortunately, do, in effect, identify as being unmarried. But that doesn't change the fact that they are married. Just as a vegetarian is, by definition, someone who doesn't eat meat. So to identify as a meat-eating vegetarian makes no sense. I mean, you can say the words, yes, you can say those words, and you can demand that we all nod in approval and with understanding, with feigned understanding when you say it. Yeah, but it still doesn't actually really mean anything. It's nonsensical. You can say that your left hand identifies as your right hand. Fine, you can say that, but it's still your left hand. Your left hand, by definition, cannot be your right hand. In fact, you could define left hand as the hand that is not your right hand. I mean, that could be a definition of left hand. So none of this means anything. And what we see here again on the left is that the left is waging a war, not just on science, because we shouldn't understate this. Oftentimes, when I've talked about this, I'll say, oh, the left's waging a war on science, they're waging a war on truth, they're waging a war on morality. And all of that is true, but it's even deeper than that. They're waging a war on logic itself. That's what's at stake here. So more than claiming that you're a non-binary lesbian, yeah, it's anti-science. Yeah, it's deranged in many ways, but it's simply illogical. So what the left wants to do is they want to destroy logic, which is a basic capacity of human consciousness. It's one of the things that makes us human. Arguably, it may be the number one defining facet of human beings, is that we're capable of logical thinking, which is what sets us apart from every other known creature in the universe. And the left wants to break that down, because that's what's going on here. Thank you for tuning in to The Daily Wire, one of the fastest growing conservative outlets in the entire country. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and then subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our content.